How about Donis K. Vicious?
That's what I heard on the Howard podcast.
Yeah, the Bison Brothers podcast, the Bison Brothers Basketball podcast.
We got to give him some love because I had Dr. K, but K. Vicious is way better sounding.
Eric Pipples had the idea, so shout out to him for the K. Vicious nickname. I like it.
That has some seasoning to it.
It does. How about
microphone?
Let's get the vibe right. Welcome to the show. Bison Spotlight. Chip and B smooth, bringing heat to your ears. He washing the mix, facing down all fears. From the court to the crowd where the legends are born. Howard University, we're breaking the norm. Bison Nation stands strong through thick and thin. Basketball vibes, it's more than a win. Every dribble, every shot, it's a story to tell. Ray of excellence, we ringing the bell. Chip Washington's the name, self-proclaimed fanatic. In the heart of the game, his passion's emphatic. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are.
Welcome to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, your number one home for all things Howard basketball. My name is Chip Washington, the self-appointed Bison basketball fanatic.
What's up, Bison family? It's your boy B Smooth, still the lover of all things Howard and the lover of all things basketball. Welcome to the show. E, what's going on, baby?
What's up, man? It's E-Wash, man. I'm not having a basketball Jones today. I'm having a basketball seizure up in here.
Somebody call a doctor. Somebody call a doctor. I love it. Welcome to the show. It's pretty awesome, man. We're right in the middle of February. Happy Valentine's Day or post Valentine's Day to those who celebrate and those who are still looking for love. We hope you get some. We got a lot of love for basketball this week, so looking forward to talking about a little bit of heartbreak with our Yale game. We're also going to talk about the revenge tour we took on some of those MEAC schools that thought they had our number. We are setting up the show like we always do. We'll have some recaps of the past week. We will also have a little over/under reaction. We're getting so close, so close to tournament time, so it's time for us to see if we can hopefully make some bets that are going to pay out in March Madness for that, for sure. We're also going to have what's good for basketball from our own E-Wash here. He's going to take us around the world. So I'll let you let that tease out a little bit and see what part of the world he's going to land in. Just imagine spinning the globe and he's going to put his finger down, and that's going to be what's good for basketball. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll wrap up. This is one of those weeks where a lot of good basketball, a lot of love, for the program. We're going to talk about that in a second as well. But yeah, we're going to get, around the horn here and see if we can make sure you're up to speed on everything Howard University basketball. But before we get into that, and before we, talk a little bit about some folks we want to thank, Chip, why don't you let people know why we do what we do with the Bison Basketball Brothers podcast?
Boom. Bison Nation, we coming to you every Tuesday, and even more sometimes, to continue to remind you to support these championship teams. And you can do that in so many ways. You can donate to the Mecca Society. That is the team's name, image, and likeness collective. You could do that by going to the meccasociety.org. You can also donate through the Bison Express Booster Club. You can do that by going to hubison.com. And you can give through Fanstake at fanstake.com using the code MECCA25. As always, please continue going to the games. Oh, man, especially in the Burr. We love seeing cheeks in seats at the Burr, and continue to tell everybody. And I know y'all are doing it because we're hearing about it everywhere. Tell everybody about this podcast. You can hear us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, And you can interact with us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. Fellas, I can't tell you, I look forward to doing this show every week. And this week, it is no less the excitement. I can't wait to get into it. Let's get at it.
Hey, I tell you what, before we get over to the recaps, which is the heart of the show, let's get a few thank yous going there. So, Chip, I know you wanted to thank a few folks. EY, you may have somebody tag in there. We got a few folks to thank this week, man. Chip, why don't you start us off with your thank yous?
I have to give a shout out to Kevin D. Domenico, ESPN's finest, for giving us a shout out during the University of Maryland Eastern Shore men's game, and also a shout out to Coach Jimmy Fly Hellman. Hey, we appreciate you, ESPN. We appreciate you. Oh yeah. And continue shout out to Coy Lindsay, who, when you Bison Nation, when you watch the highlights that we're going to run during the game, some of those highlights are from Coy Lindsay and the footage that he exclusively captures for the Bison Brothers Basketball podcast. So those are my thank yous.
I love it. E-Wash, I know you had Jimmy Fly on your list. Is that anyone else you want to thank there, bro?
Well, truthfully, man, I want to thank you for not clowning me about this shirt. I want to thank B Smooth to show you how much the paradigm is changing. He didn't even say nothing about my Larry Bird shirt, so I want to thank you for that.
So I'm glad you're saying thank you early. Thank you.
I guess I want to double down on ESPN though, man, just because one, you like you mentioned in pre-production, to get to see from your research some of those clips of the coaches show from back in the day. It kind of speaks to our roots. It speaks to building your own audience. It speaks to longevity in terms of sticking to what matters. That's good for basketball.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. So it's just awesome. So somebody behind the scenes had the foresight, since it's a DMV environment, to pull him to do that, man. That's just an awesome thing to see. And who knows, 20 years from now, somebody will be pulling Bison Brothers clips for something.
How about that? How about that?
That's what's up.
2026 has definitely been a year where we're looking like, wow, this is amazing. So let me round out the thank you. So I know you shouted out ESPN, but for them to even know about the show, we want to shout out Urban Sports Spray and HBCU Pass. They've been friends of the show since we started, and they've really been helping us get the word out in and around the DMV, as well as through all of their audiences. So thank you all for lending a hand and letting us tell the stories that we want to tell about Howard basketball. I also want to shout out Liv for Hoops. I know she's a FAMU alum. She's still a friend of the show, even though we still like to clown FAMU for leaving the MEAC. I know it was better for them when we were all together. She's doing her thing with HBCU Go and just making sure she's setting the tone for everything HBCU basketball. Thank you for the love. And I'd be remiss, because by the time you check this out, it'll cool off a little bit from Valentine's Day. Chip and I had a chance to host a No Love in the Burr episode between the University of Maryland Eastern Shore men and women's games. And so thank you all for those who attended. I know as I last looked at it this morning, about 70 or so folks decided to take in that 35-minute clip of us talking about basketball specific to what we were looking for against that matchup. We're going to talk about that in the recaps here as well. But last and certainly not least, want to thank all of the subscribers. We hit that 1,500 YouTube subscriber mark. Who knows? If we push a little bit, maybe we'll hit 2,000 by the time the tournament rolls around. Just going to put it out there. Apparently, when we put stuff out there, you never know. You might hear us on ESPN. Just saying.
Gotta speak it to existence.
Gotta speak it into existence. Right. So with that, man, let's get into it. We'll come back after the break here and get right into some excellent recaps from the week. All right. Stay tuned. You are with Bison Brothers Basketball. Hey, welcome back to Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. You may have heard about us on ESPN last weekend, in case in case you were just watching none of the games, we know we're friends of the ESPN Plus crew. So listen
Stay
up.
cool now, Be Smooth. Stay cool.
I'm trying to maintain. I'm trying to maintain.
You gotta be cool, baby.
You know how cool I am. I didn't even talk about your Larry Bird shirt you're rocking right now. That's how cool I am. I know. Somehow we're gonna figure out how to get Larry Bird in every show about Black college basketball. every episode. So again, we're into the recap part of the program. I'm gonna pop up some of these scores here. So we're gonna start off Monday. Like I told you in the last episode, by the time you checked us out last Tuesday, and thanks for listening in, we knew we were going to be playing Yale. That's a matchup we've been doing pretty steadily over the last couple of years. And as I bring these scores up here, listen, they say basketball is a game of inches, but Monday it felt like a game of seconds, right? The Bison had the Yale Bulldogs on the ropes. And if it weren't for a miracle buzzer beater to force an overtime game, we probably wouldn't have had this score looking the way it is now. We were up 3 with 15 seconds left in the ball game. And it wasn't the first shot that went in. It was the miraculous shot from the corner that tied the ball game up. It was a barn burner. And it was a Greek night. So in between all that basketball action, we had all the Greeks, the D9 were in attendance. The crowd was rocking, and I think everybody was all looking the same way at the end of the game, saying, "What just happened?" So we definitely had a lead. Jordan Braithwaite from Yale hits a miracle shot, made it to SportsCenter on ESPN, number 4 that day. In case you were watching that, number 4 out of the top 10 the next morning. And I know Trevor Mullen was the one who carried the Yale. He had a career high 23 points, and Samson Allerton had 14 rebounds. It really exploited our lack of size, especially in the OT session here. CT3, Cedric Taylor III, was balling like he normally does, but he did foul out. And I think that as we get into this recap, we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of that. And obviously, we had Bryce Harris play a lot of minutes, and I know with a bench as deep as ours, it's a question mark of how deep do we have to go in the bench so we don't have to see that much burn in one player or two. And so again, the we'll call it the heartbreak at the Mecca, because we have a pretty talented team. We've gone winless against Yale so far, but this was definitely a couple of games in a row where we've taken them to overtime. So let's talk about it, fellas. What did you see? What did you take away? I just know that there's no Pyrrhic victories anymore. This is we're talking about playing games that this game was supposed to help us get into understanding where we stood against other competition in this time of year. I think it was an excellent schedule by Coach KB and his staff, so that we got a chance to play against a pretty quality team getting ready for tournament play. So with us making hopefully a transition to win our tournament, we can see teams that we might follow, might wind up going against in the tournament. So let's talk about it. Chip, you want to kick us off here about what you saw or what you were taking away from the Yale game?
Yeah, I'll make it real quick. For everybody that did or did not see the game, man. Cedric Taylor fouling out at the end of regulation, and it was debatable. I heard a couple of other podcasts talking about our game. Whether or not they should have fouled Jordan Braithwaite, after he got that rebound. I don't know. Maybe not. But, for Cedric Taylor to foul out at the end of regulation, it was going to be a tough uphill climb. I think what was underrated and not really underrated, because Coach Fly Hellman, talked about it, the defense that we played, I really believe didn't get enough credit for that game, to hold such a high percentage 3-point team to where we had them. No reason for anybody to hang their head. The ball just didn't bounce the way we needed it to. We had low turnovers. We only had 11 turnovers in that game, and I think we turned them over 15 times. So, we were right there. He misses that miraculous 3-pointer. Like you said, we're not having this. So that's really all I got to say, man. It was a good game. Now, to your point, and I can't remember if we talked about it on the live show or from the last show in terms of, how would they respond from this? Like I said, I didn't think there was any reason to feel bad about this game other than the score. So yeah, I just didn't bounce our way, and I had no worries that they weren't going to recover from this loss. So that's all I got.
That's real. That's real, Chip. I like the levity you're bringing, bro. You're usually I encounter you for some level of hyperbole, but you're too smooth right now. So we may be changing places. We got to see if this is Freaky Friday, right? We got to see. So Eric, did you have anything to add here, bro?
Well, I don't know if you remember a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about the women's team, and we were kind of going through the analytics and looking at the stats. And I believe the comment I made was something to the effect of, the story might not lie in the numbers, but they win it anyway, right? Well, this is a little bit of a Freaky Friday of that, in that, we shot them from the 3-point line. Rebounding was about even. The scoring was spread out. I hear you guys kind of, lamenting and that's been a consistent theme for you, B, where's scoring going to come from. But I see here we had 1, 2, 3 people in double figures and 3 more people with 9 points. So that's, to me, it's pretty close to having a large number of people in double figures in scoring. I felt like the bench was used effectively. I'm kind of had to go with Chip on this one, man. It just didn't bounce our way, man. And it's kind of is what it is. I didn't see anything in terms of lack of preparation, poise, stick-to-itiveness. All the superlatives to me were exemplified in this game. We just took an L on that one, man. It is what it is, So
yeah, I mean, I think you guys are both being extremely thoughtful in your responses and very balanced, and so I appreciate that. I won't add much more to this. I'm still on suspension from expressing some thoughts here. I do think the number that we have to pay attention to, that was the takeaway for me, was just when we face teams with a little bit more size on the front line, they took advantage of our lack of size. And that's probably the only thing that we counteracted most of that, to your point. We played great perimeter defense. We took the top 3-point shooting team and made them less than average. And we actually, played to our strengths where we could, but where they took advantage of us, we couldn't grow at halftime. So, they're big fellas were making sure that they took it into the basket whenever they needed to score, they try to take it down low. So I think it was a great game for our confidence, because we're playing against a team that this is the style of play we won't face in the MEAC. So getting a chance to play a team this late in the season before tournament play is really helpful to see what else we need to sharpen based on that, based on the way we play. So I'll leave it at that. I just know that, playing against Yale, we have to go ahead and beat them at some point. That's the only thing that's left to do. So if we can play the way we played, I think that there's definitely some lessons on how we would maybe adjust for that, so we wouldn't come down to a miraculous shot. Shout out to ESPN for recognizing that the Bird still has magical basketball, even if we're on the losing side of the game. That's good. All right, so let's flip the script then. If we're good here, let's go to the ladies, because they're on a bit of a tear. So I'm going to see if I can bring this to the stage here. We had to make a business trip before the weekend up to Dover, Delaware. And Dover is usually a tough place to play, but our Lady Bison treated Memorial Hall like their own backyard. Here it says 68-51 clinical sweep, we'll call it. And the question I have for you all really is there any team right now in the MEAC, north side of the MEAC? So we'll talk about Norfolk because they're still on the page here. But is there any team that can actually touch our squad right now? Based on how we played against Delaware, I'm not so sure, right? We basically won the game from the tip. I will shout out Amaya Scott, who had 16 points and was probably the only Hornet that shot well against us, even though the whole team only shot 30% from the field. And we did lock down the leading scorer, Jamisha Frierson, held her to single-digit scoring. And so that recipe, we're playing some really solid defense right now. I will shout out our friends of the program, Z Payne, Zanaya Thomas with another double-double that night, 18 points, 12 rebounds, as well as Zoe Stewart.
Yeah.
I think that's why you're wearing the Larry Bird shirt. I got the connection. See, it took me a minute.
That's right.
It's a quarter into the show, and I'm just now realizing why you
Terre
guys
Haute finest.
Shout out to my
Finest.
other one of my favorite Hoosiers with the team, Zoe Stewart, with 15 points.
That's right.
Really making sure she can make it happen. So the key here, guys, is it feels like what Chip used to tell us: rinse and repeat. When it comes to just, we showed up, we actually started with the energy, we dictated pace early, and even though the score hung around a little bit in the beginning, it's like as soon as we impose our will when it comes to defense, that's when the game just opens up, and that second half is almost like a different story. So talk to me, man. What did you guys see that could key takeaway from this game?
If you thought the last analysis was short, wait till you get a load of this one.
Yeah,
I got 3 words: Destiny Bynum Johnson.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Her resurgence in this game was evident, and I it was just good to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. I mean, the score is what it was, but I think Destiny just looks rejuvenated, and it was really, what did she have? It was 16 in this game, I believe. 16. So one off the leading scorer, Terre Haute finest, Destiny Bynum Johnson.
Destiny Bynum Johnson. She's entered she's re-entered the chat. Destiny Bynum Johnson. Shout out to New Jersey. Re-entered the chat. Shout out that.
Yes.
Ewash, anything to add, man? Anything to add?
I think the biggest takeaway for me, but I'm gonna reverse myself again and do my one of the things I left out of my thank yous is I actually want to thank Duke University for sort of setting us on the course that we're on now in terms of being media titans. And the reason why I say that is
well played.
One of the takeaways from that Duke men's game to me was, despite the deficit and the size of the opponent, let's say it that way, they played the same way all the way through, no matter how large the deficit was. I heard multiple pundits and coaches say how hard they played regardless, right? So I would piggyback on that for the women. What the best thing that I'm seeing is, despite the margins of all these scores in terms of the games, there is no drop off in play, and that's a testament to Coach Ty. I think that's going to bode well, as we coming up on March Madness time. That's something that I would. I don't want to underreact to that. That the play is consistent, man, regardless of what's going on, and I'm just glad to see that. I'm glad to see that.
No, I like that. It was almost a tease to what's good for basketball coming up a little bit later in the show. Your thank yous are well timed, Ewash, and I do think that our eye has become a lot more critical of what we're seeing, and we're blending between being super fans and super caring about how the rest of the game that you don't get to notice, right? You can't pull it from the box score, or you can't pull it from a couple of highlight clips. You got to see the whole thing. And yes, I will say that we continue to play at our level right now, and that's probably the big takeaway for me, is that Coach Ty Grace, shout out to Coach Ty Grace and her staff. They learn something from every game. And this is where they're starting to take all the notes from the early part of the season, and they're applying the notes. It's just that I think Delaware State, they know who they are. And the scouting for that game was superb, because we were able to shut down their best weapons and still maintain our identity, and even see a few more people emerge, like Destiny Bynum Johnson. So I do think that we're starting to turn the corner, and we're really gearing up towards being part of the elite part of the conference now. We came in preseason number one, and I think we're starting to play to that now. I know that the game that really would let us know was what we're going to cover up next. Thanks for these highlights. These highlights are awesome too, by the way. I'm so glad whenever we get to watch these games on TV here. Chip, the highlights from the team. Shout out to the media team. They actually bring us a lot of good footage to share. It's almost like you're there in Dover. So appreciate that. All right, so let's go to the next game. This is probably our favorite part. We talked about this. This next set of games we're going to talk about was so special. We had a live show, No Love in the Burr. So please check that out. It's on our channel now. It's our play on Valentine's Day, having love for everybody except University of Maryland Eastern Shore. And somebody might ask why. Why didn't we have love for them? And I know the last time we saw them, we went to Prince Anne, Maryland, on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. And in that doubleheader, University of Maryland Eastern Shore shocked the world and beat our ladies and our guys back-to-back games and set them on a course, especially the ladies. They set them on a course to be essentially number one team for most of the front half of the season. And like any team that's a front runner, they actually wound up hitting a few spots where people started scouting them. And of course, we like to circle. We circle those matchups that we're looking at. And we had 2 pins out. So we circled both the men and women's game because these are payback games. These are revenge games. Mm-hmm. And for us, we know revenge is a dish best served at the Mecca.
Oh, I thought you were going to go, it's best served cold and brr.
Stay with me. You're wearing a Larry Bird shirt, so we know that culturally you're having a problem right now. The revenge is supposed to be when we come home. We take care of home. As you know, our ladies have been undefeated at home when it comes to this. And so if I pull up the scores here, they kept that momentum, right? The score obviously is letting us know that not only were we worried, not worried about a close game. From the tip, we said we're going to make sure that they have to come chase us throughout the entire game. And if it were not for a brief moment when the game was tied with 19 all early in the second quarter, we thought it was going to be a nail biter to the end. But due to a 25-7 third quarter run, that actually split this game wide open, and they never had a shot to come back. And so I know we tended to, again, good scouting on behalf of the team. We took the best players from University of Maryland Eastern Shore and said, you are not going to beat us. Someone else has to do that. And we actually played some really good defense, especially in the second half, where we figured out, let's turn on the defense. So as soon as we got back from halftime, we turned on some defense that never turned off. And I was worried, Chip, that they were going to I thought they were going to slow down. Sometimes we have these little lapses when we get up pretty big, but I think the staff wanted to keep it on. They kept it on the whole time. So shout out to the this is a great highlight too. Great. The ladies wearing pink. Shout out to them representing love on Valentine's Day. It's really awesome to see them play in unison. And again, we saw almost the entire bench play, which is really good to see. I know in the first few minutes, we saw nine players play right away, which means that we're going deep into the bench, right? So let's talk about it, because this is when I circled. I know having them give us the only loss on our conference record, I wanted to make sure we could, see if we were back where we needed to be. And I can promise you the team looks a lot different than it did in that first trip to Prince Anne, Maryland. So, Chip, what did you see?
So look, this is the day of my short takes. First, I was shocked that Ashanti Lynch was held to 9 points. That was, I just knew she was going to have a bigger game. But I want to give a shout out to Chi-Town's finest, Ariella Hennigan, because, really? and I thought I wrote it down earlier, but I can't find it. But I know she got pulled in the first 2 quarters. Didn't really play a lot of minutes. My mental note says she played about 7 minutes. For those first 2 quarters, but it was struggle. It was a struggle bus. It was turnovers, missed shots. But for her to come back in the third and the fourth quarter and have the impact that she had, as a freshman, kudos to her. Kudos to the player development, and just the whole coaching staff for, her keeping her confidence. It was it was great to see, because again, as we kind of look down the line and who's going to need to step up and all of those type of questions, it was good to see her rebound from a kind of a not so good first half to still be aggressive and make an impact in the second half. So I just wanted to give her a shout out for playing through the struggle and contributing. So Chi-Town's finest.
She shot 3 for 5, which is a sort of opposite trend for her, also continuing on the efficiency kind of thing, even though it wasn't a volume game in terms of scoring. But
I think that's a good shout out there, Chip. I think adding that to some of the mainstays. I know Zanaya continues to play at a superb level, like the potential MEAC Player of the Year that she is. I know Zoe Stewart continued to show her that she's really settling into the offense now from an offensive standpoint. She's providing some go-to moments there. Shout out to Terre Haute, Indiana, and that awful shirt that Ewash is wearing today.
We love you, Larry. We love you, Larry.
Well, when you say we, it's he's meaning him, right? So, but yeah, I want to make sure we shout out April Edwards here too. I know she got her first Player of the Game honors. I believe she dropped, was it 15? Yeah, 15 points on Saturday, and really shot really well from the line. And so I know with us talking about the depth of the team, it's nice to see the balance of folks getting recognized for what they contribute to the team. So a lot of good playing time for this team here. And again, they did steer clear of anything that seemed like it was going to be a close game. I know for us to have to watch every minute of every game, it was good to be able to relax a little bit. And I know it gave me a chance to get ready for the show we did right in between the games. So when I saw it was in hand, I just listened in the background while I was setting everything up for the No Love in the Bird. So thank you to our Lady Bison for allowing the first half of the No Love in the Bird tour, revenge tour, to really play out the way it did. And so let's get the guys.
I think Ewash, he's got some takes.
I got another thank you though.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to thank Coach Ty Grace. 1, for being visionary. 2, for knowing her personnel. If you go all the way back to that interview, almost every bullet point she brought up is manifesting itself during the course of this season, man. And and I'll say whoever the AD is too. We go shout out to AD, because really between Coach Kenny and her, those are 2 really awesome hires, man. And I just can't say enough to see all of these things coming to fruition.
Kerry Davis, a shout out to Kerry Davis, our vice president of athletics, and so he's been there 10 years. It's hard to believe that once he got here, all the winning started. All the winning started for us in terms of consistent winning. We've always had some winners throughout the programs, but as he likes to say, sports is no longer a hobby at Howard. Now that we expect to have winners, and we expect to compete in everything we do. So yes, great shout outs. So you're shouting out 3 people then. You're shouting out Ty Grace,
yes,
Kenny Blakeney,
yes,
and Kerry Davis. Okay,
that's
got
right.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are great shout outs. Great shout outs. Yeah, well, let's keep that party going for KB and those guys, because again, we had to get to one more game. This is a revenge tour for all of us for the trip to everything going on. So let's pull up the score here. And it's it was an absolute joy.
Yes,
I'm not supposed to have joy at other people's despair. That's not how it works. But when you lose to a team and you have to come back and show them who you are.
Yeah, it
was good for not only our ladies to show up the way they did, but based on this score of 79-53, we kept, I think, Chip, you said it before, we didn't see a letdown from our hosting the Yale Bulldogs earlier in the week. If anything, it felt like we turned up the heat on every element of the game. So we saw a deeper use of the bench. We saw better ball movement. We saw better scoring from about 6-7 folks. And so we're starting to see an emergence of, I think, the team that's really, we thought we'd see. And we put this team together. We said, this is the team that could make a run. And so I will tell you that, we did see Cedric Taylor put up 22 points and 6 assists. He's got some amazing streak going. I don't know if this is jinxing him now, but he's really close to breaking a consecutive free throw mark for Howard University basketball. I think he's maybe 2 or 3 short right now. It's like 28 in a row is the record. He's sitting at 26, I believe, 26 in a row from the last couple of games. So, yeah, we want to make sure we say that early. So by the time this shows up, we'll hopefully break that record too. But the idea here is that we showed up in a big way. And I think everybody remembered what it felt like to lose in Prince Anne, Maryland, earlier in the season. So I'll be quiet. You guys have anything else to add here? I know, Chip, you're gonna let us know how much you saw of the game at some point here.
All right, so Bison Nation, I got a confession. So when Kevin D. Domenico and Coach Jimmy Fly Hellman mentioned the Bison Brothers Basketball podcast during the broadcast, I don't really know what else happened. I'm gonna watch these highlights just like y'all, because I don't remember what happened, because that was early in the first quarter. So I don't even remember what happened. I was sending that clip to all the early supporters, friends, and family. Yeah. Oh man,
you had hello, Chip. He had me
at hello. So
hello.
I'm gonna listen to y'all's recaps so I can figure out what happened.
Sure.
During the game.
Well, I'll let E kick in first, and I have a few things to wrap us out.
Since he's discombobulated over there and swooning, clutching pearls.
Clutching pearls. That's pretty good.
I'll say, man, that I think that again, it's a little redundant, but that's a good thing also, because they're showing some consistency and level of play. I think that again, the ball was spread around. I do have a question now that I think about it. Did Cedric Taylor play in the first game against Maryland Eastern Shore?
He did. Yeah.
How many games was he into his career by then?
Let's see. That would have
probably
been
only maybe 3 at the best.
Yeah, 3 to 4. He played like 2 games of the non-conference schedule before we flipped into conference play, and I know that Maryland game was probably second game of the season, second or third game.
Oh, then that definitely speaks to a couple of themes that we've been harping on all year: player development, not being static in terms of adjusting and responding to team needs. You all are always asking about the bench, about the lineup. Again, I'm going to shout out Coach KB. The fact that he shuffles the lineup so much speaks to his confidence, in my opinion, up and down the bench. I love going back to the Dockery moment last year where we didn't know who he was going to bring in after halftime. So this is not anything new for Howard basketball, and I'm glad it's a line that runs through this program that, you can expect basketball excellence from anybody at any time on that roster.
No, it's great.
Good point.
That's great. And just to solidify your point there, Ewash, what I was most impressed about, Chip, after the 8:20 mark of the first half, when they said Bison Brothers Basketball podcast, They absolutely were also very complimentary of how well we were moving the ball around.
Yes.
I think
yes.
There was a stat they mentioned around how many assists per based on the points we had, and it was like ridiculously high, which would let you know there's no one spot, there's no one person hogging the ball, there's no one area that you can get offense from. And I look at the stat sheets here, we had some balanced scoring in most places, and that was cool. And I think the emergence of Travell Bryson was probably the big takeaway for me, because there was a couple of games where you didn't see him much, and then he's been back the last few games and he's made a big difference. And he's coming off the bench, which means we're bringing starter level people off the bench, which gives us even that much more of an edge when it comes to play. Alex Cotton on this highlight here, was shooting lights out. I think Cam Gillis showed us a little bit more of his offensive flair, especially towards the end of the game.
And
rebounding.
rebounding.
And rebounding. He had 7 rebounds for a little man. It was really good to see him get in there and get the boards. What was really wild, though, and I think that's the part where, to the credit to the scout team, we realized that going against University of Maryland Eastern Shore, they have to keep the game relatively low because while they're big, they don't really shoot very well from the outside. And so we made a couple of adjustments, especially in the second half, to keep the score pretty wide, where we basically played a zone, which required them to have to shoot threes in order to even make points, but they can't shoot threes in bunches. They made a few. And for us to make them have to lean on shooting threes to even play, masterful scouting and execution of the game. And again, they have a little bit of size, maybe not as much as Yale, but our small ball really took they actually had to take their big guys out at some point because they just weren't able to stay with us. So it was well in hand. There was never a point where, there was a letdown. If anything, that's probably the biggest takeaway from the Yale game is you can't let down. You got to play all the way to the end of the game. And we knew about 2 minutes or so in, everybody felt pretty good because we cleared the bench. So everybody healthy got a chance to play. And that was pretty cool. So whenever I know we get to the end of the game and we see, some of the friends of the program that aren't getting a lot of run because they're just a little bit younger right now, when everybody gets in, we're finally starting to get a groove. So they remember what happened in Prince Anne. That's probably the big takeaway for me. And like the ladies, they didn't want to have them come to the Burr and act like it was going to be anything different than us telling them, here's who we are. So very exciting, very exciting, very, very good takeaway. Really great weekend. Valentine's Day was different. We there was no love for Eastern Shore, and I didn't realize how much so until it became a Valentine's Day massacre based on the scoreboard. So I think this is cool, man. Anything else?
I did not forget that I was still handing out fines.
Dang! I was hoping we was gonna make it.
Oh no!
We almost there.
You saw it in the highlights where there were a couple of layups.
Yeah, he said fine in there a couple of times.
CT3 should have dunked it. Hey, I'm just saying. Yeah, you got to take that ball to the rack.
Once again, be smooth. Pulling a negative from all these positives.
You would think we lost every game based on that reaction. That's right. So he's in the nitpicking stage of winning a championship. Like, what does the championship matter to you? But thank you for the recap.
The free throw streak mean he going to the hole strong.
He is every
and
time.
All
even
you can do is pull out your dingy bell. That's all you got for my man.
That's right. As our younger listeners may say, pause. I think that that's an excellent transition. That's an excellent transition to over and under reactions. So right after the break, we'll do a couple of over under reactions and get into what's good for basketball. You're with Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. Yeah, welcome back to Bison Brothers Basketball. I'm your boy B Smooth. We have Chip Washington, the host with the most, and E Wash. Still got a Jones. He had a seizure or some other medical condition. We had to look it up in the code book to make sure that we'd have to call any paramedics to make sure he's okay. And you're with us during one of our crazy recap shows. Thank you for checking in. I would say before we jump into this next segment, for those avid listeners, listen to the recaps. Is there anything else you all saw? I know many of you watch the games just like us and you share your opinions just like us. And again, we want to know, is there anything you saw? Is there anything you saw that would make us make sure that both our ladies and our men are ready for a conference tourney run in a couple of weeks? Okay. So here's the deal. We are in over under reactions.
Yeah.
We got a couple of questions to run through. This will be brief. I promise. I would like to start it off, Chip, and I'm going to pose these questions to you and Eric, and the responses are over or under reaction. Okay. And I may poke at you if it sounds weird, so you can maybe explain yourselves. Too soon. All right. So the first question, or first statement, I should say, CT3, Cedric Taylor, is now officially our #1 option over Bryce Harris for the men's team.
False.
Over or under reaction?
False.
I said over under reaction. He went to Morehouse, so I got to make sure I explain the questions again. This is over under reaction, not true false, not whatever you want to make up. It's truly over or under reaction. I'll restate in the audience. You all check in with
overreaction.
It's an overreaction. We got an overreaction from you. Watch. Chip, where are you?
I'll say overreaction.
Okay. All right.
It was tough.
Blood is thicker than water.
What say you?
I think it's an underreaction. I think it's an underreaction. Primarily because they do wind up playing a similar role. I just think that with Cedric's ever-growing or display of his arsenal of how he gets to the basket and how he handles the rock and how he gets up and down the court, his size gives him a slight advantage in terms of what they want to do on offense right now. So Bryce is still my man, 100 grand, but I think that when you look at the way the offense is running, or especially early, you see the touches for Ced are intentional to make sure he can get going early. So that way we get a little more of an inside presence. Underreaction. But you guys are blood brothers, and I'm just a brother by association, which means that I could be right and you guys could both be wrong. I don't know. We can see how it goes.
Could be.
Let the fans find out. Is that an over or underreaction? It has, especially in Chicago. I understand that. All right. So next question, or statement, I should say. The Yale loss proved that Howard's small ball style will never win against elite size. Overreaction or underreaction? Again, for the listeners, the Yale loss proved that Howard's small ball style will never win against elite size.
Overreaction.
Ooh, do tell. Why do you all wind up at overreaction?
Well, I hate to say it from a Pyrrhic victory standpoint, but we had Yale. It was just a crazy bounce of the ball, but our small ball had them in regulation until a freaky bounce of the ball and a miracle shot. So that's why I say overreaction.
So is it? Let me just make sure. I want to clear this up before Ewash either affirms or puts his foot in his mouth. I don't know what she's going to do next, but here's what's going to happen. You're telling me that based on the statement and the fact that we lost, you think that it's an overreaction?
Yes.
What's our record against Yale? What's our record against Yale right now?
Hey, it's 0-5.
0-5.
Yeah.
0-5.
Okay. So go ahead. You're going to tell us why this makes sense.
Yeah. So your recap talking points really highlighted the antithesis of the point you're trying to make, and they were your talking points about how they were able to offset the size. Of course, it was against UMES, not Yale, but you know, I would make the argument that South Carolina State had more size than us. Most teams have more size than us. Truthfully, you know, so I think that we're gonna go Jimmy Fly one more time, and he talked about how Bryce was an earth mover, right? And how he, the way that he is able to pin people down low, to carve out space. He has, I'm gonna go Charles Barkley, Adrian Dantley, undersized people that play in the post, right? Wes Unseld, even if we want to go DMV again, you know, these are all 6'7" people or shorter that offensively and defensively have answered the call in terms of post play. And they were all, Wes Unseld won a championship, made Final Four with Louisville as the center. Adrian Dantley anchored until this is not looking favorable on my boy Isaiah Thomas until they got rid of him. He took them from the equivalent of a play-in team to a championship contender with a 6'5" guy playing in the post. So I think Bryce Harris is right in line with being able to man the post even at 6'4". And I think Jimmy Fly brought that to the forefront in his analysis during the game. So even though out rebound,
I hear everything you're saying. It doesn't necessarily answer the question, but I understand. You had a lot to say. You had a lot to say. You had a lot to say. It just did. I'm talking about Howard, not talking about. I mean, Adrian Danley used to practice at Howard, but he didn't play for Howard.
I'm saying that small ball.
One Sunset used to play ball down the street from Howard, but he didn't play for Howard.
And it's working for Howard. That's my point.
Well said.
Okay, well let's keep it rolling here because you guys and at home.
Are we still on overreactions? Over under?
Yeah, we got two more. We got two more on here right now. Yeah. So here's the deal. And I just want to make sure I remind our listeners, please chime in the comments. Remember, we're talking about the Yale loss and Howard small ball not being able to win against elite size. Over or under reaction. You go ahead and put it in the chat. Let's see how well you guys align with the Brothers Washington, just to see. Because right now, we're just trying to see. We're late in the season. We're trying to figure some stuff out. So the next one I have, which is maybe an easier one, I probably could have started with this one. So when you consider April Edwards, Travell Bryson, and a few of the other folks who have emerged in our second units for our men and women specifically, we have the best second unit in the conference for both men and women. Over underreaction.
Underreaction.
I'm going to say underreaction as well.
Who do you think has a better second unit than us on the men and women's side?
That's the point. That's why it's a.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody. That's why it's an underreaction.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah. Just checking. Checking your math right here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna phrase this in form of a statement, Chip. This is when you brought to us in the pre-production here. Our starters are playing too many minutes this late in the season. Over or underreaction?
Eric, what say you?
Overreaction. You just praised the bench.
I'm just saying, but if you look at the minutes played, especially in the Yale game, we stuck to the starters really closely. So I'm just making sure I'm asking the question. People might want to know. Is it an overreaction to believe that we're playing too many minutes?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say underreaction because and this is with the asterisk and the caveat of history, but it's I believe I would love to see, let's say like the last game, University of Maryland Eastern Shore. We had the solid four. It was 34 minutes, 36, 27 and out. Osei had 12, but that's because of foul trouble. But generally, those four are kind of always over 33 minutes per game. And then we'll sprinkle in, some other people. I would like to see 28, 27, just for longevity down the stretch, and in the tournament. But I put an asterisk on it because for the past couple of years, especially it was mostly because of injury. But we won a championship with like six guys. So KB is used to leaning heavily on the starters. But I think we're playing them a little bit too much. I'd like to see a little bit more parity in the minutes. Get our top four guys in the high 20s if we could. So
I'm looking for a bail to find him.
Wow. You gonna find yourself? You gonna put the bail on him?
Hey, I'm equal opportunity, man. If you think I need to get fined, hey,
there we go. What's the fine exactly, counselor?
Why am I getting fined?
I've been listening to you guys all year, and this was originally going to be part of my talking points for the recap, but I'm glad I saved it for this. Right. So this is my I guess I call this the overreaction.
Okay.
But it's an all-inclusive. It's like a buffet. Go-to guy question answered. Where's the scoring going to come from? Answered. What about inside play? Answered. Handling non-conference opponents? Answered. Coaching? Answered. Playing a full 48 minutes? Answered. Not playing down the competition? Answered. And on and on and on.
What is he talking about?
I don't know. What was the question?
I don't know what he's meant. What are you reacting to exactly? What are you reacting to?
Reaction to everything.
Strangely enough, this reminds me of an argument I had with my wife not too long ago, and she literally said the same thing, and I was like, "What are we mad about?" And she couldn't tell me, and just left out the house, and I was like,
"I can repeat it."
I don't know what you're mad about though. Like I don't know what your reaction is. So it could be me. It could be me. I might be listening too closely.
So are you? I guess to see in terms of the minutes, you're okay with our top four playing over 34 minutes a game?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because most of the time, people's rotation tightens up when it's playoff time anyway. So the fact that they're playing at a higher level, incorporate more people into it, and you all are applauding the bench a segment ago, right?
Yeah.
That seems to me that those questions are getting answered.
All right.
Okay.
Chime in, Bison Nation. Let us know.
Yeah, please. And if you can't follow what E-Wash was saying, don't worry, you're not alone.
The small ball question is getting answered. The minutes is getting answered. The can we play down low is getting answered.
Okay.
Well, actually, let's circle back. So who's the go-to guy? Because you might contradict yourself. Oh, okay. and not CT3.
Not CT3. That's right.
All right.
Have you been watching all the games?
Yes, I have, actually. Okay. Yeah, because they were
just making sure, bro.
They were winning before CT coming out party. CT3's coming out party. They were winning before that. And the offense was centered around Bryce Harris and his skill set. And that has not changed.
Really?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're doing better, but he's still the hub, in my opinion.
Okay.
Chime in, Bison Nation.
Yeah, chime in, and not even Bison Nation alone. I'm gonna have.
Matter of fact, let me go in my Jimmy Fly bag one more time.
No. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tell everybody that you went to school with from Morehouse
his repertoire.
That you turned your back on the Morehouse brother. I'm gonna tell them that. Happy Founders Day to Morehouse.
You don't go to Morehouse no more.
Somebody's not happy about y'all founding because he went against your brother who came over to Howard. I just know he knows that he's supposed to be cheering for Morehouse right now, and I gave him a layup. I even let him get away with the Larry Bird stuff. And the Morehouse guy is balling out. You're telling me he's not the number one dude? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm deadly serious.
Oh,
all right.
Morehouse. Next meeting, y'all may pull him up. You gotta get a drop squad for E-Wash. Oh, this is awesome. Well, this is why we do over under reactions. This is beautiful. I love this part. This is absolutely the best. So listen up. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from E-Wash. He's going to spin the globe, and he's going to put his finger somewhere that's really good for basketball right after the break. Oh my gosh. You are with Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast.
Real proud of my people, 15 undefeated. Who else got this eagle? Howard University, best to ever do it, G. HBQ worldwide, running for eternity. Real proud of my people, 15 undefeated. Who else got this eagle? Howard University, best to ever do it, G. HBQ worldwide, running for eternity.
Oh, man, I still love that highlight, boy. Getting hyped up for what's good for basketball. Shout out to Travell Bryson for putting down the early alley-oops. Chip, I think you're still down on your over-under for how many alley-oops per game. 3 so far, so we'll get it in. But hey, we're at one of our favorite parts of the show where we sit back, relax, and listen to the musings of Eric Washington as he tells us what's good for basketball. E, spotlight is yours, my brother.
All right, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. What I'm starting to really enjoy about a lot of these segments is the memories and the indelible impact. B, you talked about, joy, being able to get joy from the game, right? And, I don't remember what event we were at, or that Chip was at, rather, where he was on some kind of panel, and John Thompson, shout out John Thompson at Georgetown University, was on this panel. And, Chip being Chip was needling him a little bit about a time in the future that would come where Howard basketball was more highly regarded than Georgetown basketball. You remember that, Chip?
Oh, I definitely remember that. Definitely.
Yeah, man. He told me that story, and look where we are today. That's a pretty amazing thing. But the reason that, and that's not the only memory, but the reason John Thompson even comes up at all in this particular segment is that, and I'm paraphrasing here, he said that we shouldn't discourage, our kids, and, we're talking about, Black kids specifically. We shouldn't discourage their sort of innate or built-in advantage and interest in sports. While I might agree that it might be a little misplaced sometimes in terms of the emphasis, meaning it's not your whole world or life, but it certainly is a significant part of African American life and, life in general. Sports, people love sports, right? So, his point, or at least the way I took his point, was that you should not have them run away from that. There's some people, and I'm gonna go a little Malcolm X here. He made an analogy about, how if you're in a room and you're in the minority and there's some good Black music or something on, you might be a little embarrassed to tap your toes or something. You don't want to show that you don't want to represent the culture publicly, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? And that kind of comes up with basketball. Sometimes, you'll hear people lament, oh, there's too much emphasis on sports and this and that and blah, blah, blah. However, sports has always kind of served as a segue for a lot of progress and a lot of things. What pops to mind initially right now is Jackie Robinson integrating baseball, right? The Celtics having the first Black coach, what those things, Muhammad Ali, what those things did for society, right? And so I was up pretty later than I should have been, past my bedtime, and but I was rewatching the Howard Yale game, and so one of the things that popped up in my feed as something that I might be interested in was a documentary about the origin of the Basketball Africa League. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with that at all?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the great thing about the documentary was how it brought home the way that basketball was a way to elevate African people throughout the diaspora. The exchanges that were going on, the way people were able to uplift themselves and help each other, and all because of basketball. Even I even thought about, and President Obama was featured significantly during the documentary, and he is the embodiment of everything that we're talking about. He was born here, but obviously he's got an international background. Father is African, mother was American. And he talked about some of the trepidation he had initially in terms of kind of overplaying his interest in basketball so that he wouldn't play into stereotypes during the campaign. But then look what that ended up doing for him, overall. He was to reach audiences and young people a lot of times without even saying anything, just with the clips of him, making shots and, the swag he was demonstrating and all of that, just, and matter of fact, he had a Duke basketball player as one of his top aides on the campaign. Can't think of his name right now. But anyway, so, I'm watching the documentary, and I promise you, man, it was so inspiring to see two names that pop up. Matter of fact, I'm also reading a book this year that I haven't finished about Hakeem Olajuwon and what he did in this same role. The fact that he came from Nigeria and really sparked what is now the international presence in the NBA, right? And the two names that I'm going to focus on here are Amadou, I hope I don't mispronounce his name, Amadou Gallo Fall and Masai Ujiri, who used to be president of the Toronto Raptors and won a championship, So definitely kudos to him. And that first name, Mr. Fall, was the person who was inspired to do it. He reached out to Adam Silver and some other people to get the ball rolling and didn't waste any time. It even reminded me of the way Chip said that the Bison Brothers came to fruition. It was an idea that was being kicked around. And, if I understood Chip correctly, well, let's get started. Why not start right now? And, it was a similar phenomenon with the Basketball Africa League. And before you knew it, they were organized. They basically were capitalizing on teams that already existed. It's 12 teams. The teams that I saw featured were from Egypt, Rwanda, Senegal, and Nigeria. And Chip can definitely speak to this, but you could think about so many cultural things that jump off just from those four countries. And so this particular so not only does the league exist, I'll say it that way, which is a phenomenon in and of itself, but the way people started chiming in. So to go a little colloquial, to see J. Cole, the rapper, on one of the rosters. I think he was on the Rwandan team. And, people were lamenting his presence there. But the fact that he was able to take advantage of his notoriety and his basketball skill, because I believe he did play for St. John's for a little while. And the eyeball, he talked about what it meant for him to be able to bring attention through his platform to do something to uplift the continent. Everybody talked about it in those terms, even though we were just talking about basketball. And so I can't remember the gentleman's name who attended the All-Star game when it was held in Toronto at the behest of Ujiri. But just off of that, he built a state-of-the-art stadium in Rwanda that hosted the first league games. So there's no facility like this on the continent of Africa other than the one in Rwanda, at least at the time of the taping of the show. And I was just, it was an emotional thing to watch to me, to see all of these things spring off of sports, the business, the fellowship, the goodwill extended, the cultural exchange. Heck, they were interviewing Joakim Noah once again. I think his father, Yannick Noah, where are they from? Cameroon, I believe. I can't remember, but either way, they're just yet another example of and he played for Chicago, not a small thing. And they even interviewed the head basketball coach for Simeon on the South Side. He was part of the initial entourage of people, coaching clinics, just bringing some African-American cultural components to Africa. And then both people benefit because he talked about how much his paradigm was opened from being on the continent and getting something out of that. And I could just go on and on, but primarily to see basketball taking root like that, it's good for the game. It's clearly good for basketball. It's good for Africa. And to bring it on home, to see Howard University kind of be an antecedent in this role, having Makur Maker as one of its first big time players. So once again, a child of Africa, playing a big role on Howard's campus and bringing that whole thing full circle. So, I know that was a lot, but I'm telling you, I was flooded with all of the impressions and impact that was made by people. And again, a dispelling of the notion that there is no interest from Black people to engage with their brothers and sisters on the continent worldwide. So it's putting a lot of those things to bed, and it's certainly good for basketball.
Good for basketball. I love that, man. What's the where's the applause? You need to get an applause on this one. Yeah, that was pretty good.
It's coming. And it's timely. All-Star game.
Yeah.
And they're having the world versus the
That's
USA.
Right.
So
yeah. No, this is a pretty amazing way. Well done, Iwash. You got us ready for our final exam, brother. You kind of put that pin right in the middle of the continent, motherland, and said, "Now check that. This is how it all connects back to all the things that we think are so unique. They come back to full circle where it all started, right? So I love that. So let's do this. We're going to come back and just do some closing thoughts and wrap up our show. This is Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. Hey, all right. Welcome back to the show. It's Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. We got Chip Washington, and you just heard from the incomparable E-Wash talking about what's good for basketball. And I'm your boy, B Smooth, still the lover of all things Howard and the lover of all things basketball. And we're at the part of the show where we're trying to wrap this thing up. I know you've been enjoying a little bit of recaps. We talked about our heartbreak with Yale earlier in the week. We talked about sweet revenge on Saturday, on Valentine's, no love in the Burr. And we talked about how we're starting to see some signs of championship readiness for both our men and women this week. And so we have a slew of things that we want to get your input on. Just remember, if you're listening to the show, we really want to hear from you, especially when it comes to the over and under reactions. We're trying to formulate our closing arguments for getting ready for tournament time. It's only a few weeks away. Can you imagine? Tournament starts a little less than a month from now. So we're in the back half of our conference play. We're looking forward to just seeing how the games come together as we look for seeding at this point. We're trying to see if we can, get as high on the seeding as we can, or low, I guess, depending on what you're looking at from a number perspective. But we want to minimize the number of games we got to play to get the championship Saturday in a few weeks. So listen, again, before Chip closes us out here, I want to make sure we say thank you again to a number of folks that are helping us really grow the program here. I got to start with the list. I was trying to write everything down. E-Wash, you thanked a lot of people that I want to make sure we catch. So Coach Jimmy Fly, right? We want to catch him. We got Coach Ty Grace. We got Coach Kenneth Blakeney. Got Kerry Davis. Good shout out there, looking at how we're really building the program to be more than a hobby. That's right. Chip, I know you were able to start off the show letting us know that love from Kevin DiDomenico and Coach Fly talking about the program on the show. It almost cost you an ability to know what else happened after that point, but it did. Awesome. It did cost you that. I'll round this out because I know that Urban Sports Ray and HBCU Pass, Live for Hoops. We're all part of this this growing culture of storytelling for HBCU sports and HBCU basketball. So we love supporting one another. Please check out their different episodes that are out on YouTube and Instagram, and I know Live for Hoops is on HBCU Go. So please check out them, because we're all trying to tell the same stories from our different vantage points. Again, thank you for everybody who attended our No Love in the Burr, our middle of the game double header. We got in and said, let's do a live show, just talk about the games and what's going on. I appreciate everybody listening on that. And of course, our 1,500 subscribers on YouTube, putting it out there. Maybe we'll get close to 2,000 during the next month or so here. So we'll see what that means for us. But thank you all for rocking with us and making sure that we can see you as one of the subscribers to follow the show. So really appreciate that. Coy Lindsay, I appreciate you always watching every single piece of footage we have. I thought Chip was the only one who did that, but now I know at least two of you all who watch every single minute of everything Bison Brothers basketball. So
I found my person.
You found your person. Your twin. You found your twin. You found your twin. So I know before we turn it over, any other thank yous before we close the show out here?
I want to thank Howard University, my alma mater, man. I just I appreciate it was a clear turning point in my life, getting accepted there. It was a very big deal. It was a game changer for me, and I have not regretted 1 minute spent on campus, man. And just doing this just continues to reinforce that idea. So I love university, man. Thank you.
I love it. Here. I will say that in the spirit of thanking Howard, I'm trying to do better at it, but I know that Howard cheer, ooh la la, flashy flags, Bison Nets, and obviously the Showtime marching band. I don't think you guys understand how much you all play into the sights and sounds of what we believe to be homecoming. And homecoming isn't only in October. It's anytime you all gather and give us the feels of what it's like to be back on campus, and love our decision to have gone to Howard. So appreciate that. So Chip, why don't you close this out like you always do, brother?
Bison Nation, we continue to thank you for rocking with us. So continue, as you see it scrolling across the bottom, donate to the Mecca Society. That is the team's name, image, and likeness collective. And continue to donate through the Bison Express Booster Club, hubison.com, and Fanstake at fanstake.com. I'm going to continue to say it even though y'all are doing it, because I see you. Keep going to the games down the stretch, and meet us in Norfolk at Scope Arena for the MEAC tournament. Just continue coming to the games. Bison Nation, we need you out there supporting these teams. And please continue. We have 1,500 subscribers with YouTube. We want to increase that number to show Bison Nation how big we are. Continue to tell everybody about this podcast. We thank you for spreading the word and getting the word out about this podcast. YouTube, you can hear us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and you can interact with us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. So continue to do those things. Fellas, we're going to end another great show talking about Howard University basketball. I continue to enjoy being with you guys and doing this. And let's end this show like we end all of our shows. You know.